Good afternoon. We gather here today to celebrate the tremendous achievements of the class of 2017, to reflect on the meaningful growth that has occurred over the past 4 years, and to embrace the momentous promise and hope demonstrated by this year's graduating class. I feel beyond fortunate to be surrounded by this particular group of graduates, a collection of young individuals who are genuinely committed to pursuing good and who are uniquely capable of inspiring widespread positive change. My peers are the people who will work tirelessly, compassionately, and creatively to reform systems, institutions, and policies to ensure that in the future, all are served rather than a few. My peers are the people who will remain firm in their commitment to knowledge and understanding in all its forms, in an effort to peacefully combat intolerance and ignorance. My peers are the people who will anchor themselves in honesty and integrity, and who will be the first to stand up for what is just. My peers are the agents of change that our world so desperately needs, and I will never meet a group of individuals more capable of painting this world's canvas with brushes of empowerment, equity, positivity, and love. I have no doubt that our class, the class of 2017, will pursue good with grace in our actions, intelligence in our minds, and passion in our hearts. I give thanks to my fellow graduates and the Colorado College community for building lasting foundations of love, respect, and morality. I give thanks to our parents and our loved ones for supporting our remarkable growth. And finally, I give thanks to the relationships and the experiences that we have shared at this institution that will forever remind us of the power of choosing to do good with those and for those around us. I thank you all for celebrating with us today. It is now my pleasure to introduce Mr. Abe Mamet.
On behalf of myself, the Dean's and President's offices, the Colorado College Board of Trustees, and on behalf of our class of 2017, I am humbled to welcome all of you to this year's baccalaureate ceremony. Particularly, I'd like to thank President Jill Tiefenthaler, the Dean's office, and the Board of Trustees for giving me the opportunity to speak this afternoon. I thank you all for being here. For some, the sacrifice to get to this moment, both to this ceremony and this point in your lives, has been great and worthy of praise. To the friends, families, and supporters of our 2017 graduates, I recognize that it has been no small feat to see your loved ones through this vast journey in such a challenging undergraduate education. Be assured that this challenge was rewarding to unimaginable degrees. To everyone who has supported us on our journeys, thank you. Without each and every one of you, we, as the class of 2017, could not have made it as far as we have today. I am grateful to be given the honor to greet you all on this auspicious afternoon. This is a privilege I do not take lightly. Our class is filled with blindingly bright thinkers, artists so creative that the world seems to shimmer around them, and scientists who make precision their middle name. Our athletes have brought fame and pride to the Tiger tradition both individually and collectively, both at home and abroad. Our professors are fountains of knowledge whose wisdom has, for the past 4 years, spilled over selflessly into our thirsty cups. Needless to say, I am a humble choice to welcome you all today on behalf of my peers, who have conquered the shoulders of giants and who themselves are on their way to being giants in their respective fields. Our time at CC has been filled with joy, with challenge, and with growth. Collectively, we have remembered. Collectively, we have looked hungrily into the future and imagined it as our own. And collectively, we have breathed together in the present. No matter what our area of study has been, these 4 years have brought all of us experiences and memories that no Netflix special could possibly have imagined. We were the first class to consecrate the brand new sacred Slocum Hall. Our first year, Rastel was still a young institution. Now it is a robust and bustling hall that feeds our hungry bellies what our minds cannot provide. In our wake, we leave the next class a new library, an East Campus that will provide years of tranquility and a legacy of academic greatness and integrity that will continue to inspire generations of Tigers to come. It is only fitting that our baccalaureate is in Shove Chapel every year. The most beautiful building south of the US-Canada border, it was once an institution built to serve a certain holy purpose. Quickly, however, that original purpose was metamorphosed into something that fit its community, a process that has not ceased as the college ends its 142nd year of education. Such reflects the process that mirrors our current Colorado College experience. An institution built for a certain purpose, quickly and repeatedly, has been molded to fit and reflect its family. I can only look back with fondness on what CC has been, and I can only dream with excitement about what CC will become, about what our lives will become. Individually and collectively, our Tiger family has achieved, we have conquered, we have loved each other, and we have nurtured our community. I can only imagine what this growth will provide us and our greater communities in the future. Thank you all for being here, and thank you all for being my mentors, teachers, peers, friends, and most importantly, my family for these past 4 years. Now, it is my distinct pleasure to introduce two of the best musicians I've had the pleasure of knowing, both of whom I am lucky to call friends, Tierre Allen and Jordan Rudman.
Mother, mother, there's far too many of you crying. Oh, and brother, 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 there's far too many of you dying. You know we've got to find a way to bring some love in here today. Oh, Father, Father, we don't need to escalate, 'cause war is not the answer, for only love can conquer hate. You know we've got to find a way to bring some love in here today. Oh, picket lines and picket signs, don't punish me with brutality. Talk to me so you can see, oh, what's going on? What's going on? You tell me what's going on. What's going on? Mother, mother, everybody thinks we're wrong. Oh, but who are they to judge us? Simply because our hair is long. You know we've got to find a way to bring some love in here today. Oh, picket lines and picket signs, don't punish me with brutality. Talk to me so you can see, oh, what's going on? What's going on? You tell me what's going on. What's going on? Ooh, I would like to take the time now to introduce our next speaker, Stephanie Messick.
Thank you, Tierra. Thank you, Jordan. Can I get another round of applause? Thank you. My name is Stephanie Messick, and it is my extreme pleasure and it is with gratitude that I introduce tonight's speaker, an educational psychologist, professor, mentor, life coach, and friend. When I got the call that I was asked to introduce Professor Manya Whitaker, I felt two things: honor and fear. I was panicking. I felt both of these things, though, for the same reason. It's just that she's so good at everything she does. She is excellent in every capacity I know her in. And, well, me, I'm just getting started. As a student of the education department, I've had the privilege of working with and learning from Manya over several years, and she will continue to challenge me in the master's program. For those of you in the audience who have yet to be captured by Manya's excellence and charm, lucky you. The classes I took under Manya asked me to challenge my beliefs about myself and my world. Her instruction asks students to question why something is true, not just whether it is. Never before was I expected to master the tools we had been given at such a high level, and I now value the importance of being specific and measured in my thoughts and speech. She isn't afraid to give out failing grades, especially because she knows that A, that's what we earned, and B, it may just be the academic tragedy we need to get our wit together. Professor Manya is not a person I want to disappoint. It is because she holds such high expectations that I feel I excelled academically and made important growth in my pursuit of teaching in the future. My time at Colorado College is an immense privilege, and one that so many other students just as qualified or even more qualified than myself may never get. I am grateful for the guidance from Manya that continues to help mold me into an eventual asset in public education. I've learned from her that my diploma will mean nothing if I do not create opportunities to inspire and help other young students to realize their potential and pursue their dreams. If you have any lingering questions as to why our graduating class has chosen her to speak today, I'm sure she's about to answer them, or it was probably on the syllabus. Esteemed guests, friends, and colleagues, please join me in welcoming Professor Manya Whitaker.
Start where they are, but don't stay there. If you've taken even one class with me, you've heard me say this. My advisor in graduate school shared that quote during a conversation about teaching, and since then, it's become my personal motto. The ideas of beginnings and futures are especially relevant today as we celebrate the accomplishments of the class of 2017 and envision what is yet to come. Moments like these are meant to be remembered, stored deeply in your heart for all eternity. So it seems fitting that I share with you how you collectively made an imprint on my heart. Like any good education professor, I'm inspired by the work of Paulo Freire, whose educational philosophy I borrow to describe what I hope you all have experienced during these last 4 years and what I challenge you to pursue in years to come. Freire dedicated his professional life to campaigning for the dismantling of mass education. That is to say, he reimagined education not as a means to a career, but a means to emancipation. Because to him, education was the practice of freedom. The path to liberation, according to Freire, was through critical pedagogy, critical praxis, and critical hope. When we hear the word pedagogy, we often think about teachers and students. But in a Freirean model, the students are the teachers. A critical education is not about specific teaching methods. It is a philosophical approach that reorients the roles of the teacher and the student and their relationship to one another and society. The intention, therefore, is to deconstruct schooling both literally and figuratively, and to reconstruct it as a place where culture and knowledge are created, not replicated. In the simplest form, critical pedagogy embraces dialogue as an encounter between students and their diverse ways of knowing and being. I came to Colorado College 6 years ago, fresh from my graduate school days at Vanderbilt University. I often tell the embarrassing story that before my interview, I would have been hard-pressed to find Colorado on a map. Being from Washington, D.C., and growing up in North Carolina meant that Colorado, Wyoming, Utah, and other such states were just places I knew existed, but really had no interest in visiting, nonetheless living. If you'd asked me back then if I'd be living in Colorado Springs or teaching in an education department, or perhaps most shockingly, if I'd be building a mountain home on 35 acres in rural Colorado, I'd have responded with a resounding no. But I am. Because CC has changed me. You students have changed me. I entered my first class sure of myself and certain that I could and would teach you all the history of educational discourse and its implications for contemporary schooling. I sat in that first circle and marveled at the sound of my own voice dropping knowledge that I was certain would convince each of you to be an education major. Unwittingly, I'd constructed an image of myself and of you all in which I was the knowledge broker, and as James Banks says, you were accounts into which I should make deposits. I could not have been more wrong about our relationship. In my 6 years here, I've sat in dozens of such circles with hundreds of students from whom I learned about things I never knew existed. I learned the latest slang, so I ensured my courses were lit and we would kiki it up in class. From others of you, I learned the difference between backcountry and front country and how to make a protein-rich snack to eat after that hike y'all knew I'd never take. More substantively, in a reflection of my own pedagogical endeavors, you taught me about environmental sustainability and how to think more critically about my footprint in the world. Through every conversation, during every field trip, after every laughing session, you all taught me a new way of being me. This kind of critical pedagogy, in which the processes and outcomes of learning are shaped by the students, has enabled me to honor where I was, but not stay there. And for that, I am forever in your debt. The only way I can think to repay this favor is to facilitate your own development in which you acknowledge where you were, where you are, and where you intend to go. This is the crux of critical praxis, self-directed reflection and action. As a liberal arts school, we've done a pretty good job of helping you develop the skills for reflective action. But now I challenge you to engage in reflexive praxis. The distinction between the two is far more than a C turned X. When we speak of reflection and action, we are talking about the retrospective and how it shaped the contemporary moment and defined opportunities for intervention. But when we speak of reflexive praxis, we are talking about how who you are now has the potential to shape future opportunities for others. You've rightfully spent the last 4 years nurturing yourselves, but now it is time for you to leverage this experience to effect broader change. Critical praxis operates as a reflective tool with which you can interrogate your lived experiences in relation to structures of power and dominance. From that knowledge point, we can engage in collective action to ensure that, as Frantz Fanon says, the wretched of the earth transform from being for others to being for themselves. 4 years ago, I'm not sure you all will have understood what it is I'm asking you to do. I am not sure that as graduating high school seniors, you'd have had the lived experiences to understand the complexities of the world in which we exist. It has been our goal as your faculty and your mentors to provide you with the opportunity to experience the world and to instill in you the desire to change it. I believe we've been successful given your deep engagement with social issues over the past 4 years. Despite the CC bubble, you all realize the power of social media throughout your time here. From your first year with the emergence of #BlackLivesMatter, through a campus-wide forum about the misuse of online discussion threads, and most recently throughout a news-driven, contentious presidential election, you all were tuned in and vocal. You walked out of class, staged sit-ins, protested movie screenings, and challenged one another to think more deeply about equity, privilege, and social justice. I am proud of your consistent engagement with issues those far older than you have problems engaging. I am proud of your willingness to listen to ideas that may run contrary to your own in an effort to create community. I am proud of your unrelenting demands for an inclusive curriculum, a diverse faculty, and equitable learning opportunities. But mostly, I am proud of you for transforming an education for information into an education for liberation. So now I ask you, how can you use these past 4 years to liberate others? How can you meet them where they are and ensure they not stay there? It sounds like a daunting task, perhaps best suited for those of us with more experience, more education, or frankly, more power. But I've never believed that change trickles down. Like Freire, I believe that the greatest humanistic and historical task of youth is to liberate themselves. Indeed, if history teaches us anything, revolution takes, as Common says in the award-winning song Glory, the wisdom of the elders and young people's energy. In this energy resides a type of bravery underscored by a sense of hope that enables young people to stand up for others despite the personal risks. Critical hope. That's what Freire called it. Critical in that it is not naive nor omniscient. It is not blind faith or magic wands, but thoughtful analysis of causes and effects, of befores and afters. Hopeful in that it operates as a vortex that simultaneously pushes and pulls us forward to ensure we move from where we were to where we want to be. Combined, these words precede the action that is necessary to affect and effect change. For without critical engagement and hopeful optimism, we are like your rats in intro psych, who work only to receive a reward. Rote memorization and uninterrogated information are antithetical to liberal arts values. We are not concerned so much with what you know, but more so how you know it to be true. As such, When reflecting on your college experience, I urge you to move beyond listing courses and associated grades, and to instead remember the people you met who challenged what you believed and made you question why you believed it. Because as Freire said, to be human is to engage in relationships with others and consequently with the world. For those who chose CC because of its familiarity, I urge you to now choose an unfamiliar place. Push yourself into a state of discomfort so that you can construct your own sense of community when you feel alone. For those who came to CC as I did, uncertain if it was the place for you, I encourage you to stand strong in the certainty that you made it work. But perhaps now you should allow yourself to exist in a space where you can thrive, not just survive. Whether you had the best 4 years of your life here or you struggled to feel at home, embrace this experience as one that took you from where you were and ensured you did not stay there. Like society, you are in transition. We've done our best to create a positive and safe college experience for you, but we could not and would not protect you from the realities of life beyond the bubble. Instead, we supported your big ideas as you examine the world through venture grants, internships, community service, and study abroad. It is these experiences, more so than what you did in any class, that we hope engendered a sense of civic engagement and social responsibility. Because hope cannot be acquired intellectually, but only through experience. It is now up to you to create the experiences that will continue to push you beyond your limitations. There will be no syllabi or required readings to determine the content of your life. There will be no reading days or block breaks for pre-scheduled relaxation. You are now the instructor of your course. As much as I want to, I can't tell you who or how to be. I can only trust that we've done a good enough job, that we've helped shape a class of students who are not afraid to confront, to listen, and to see the world unveiled. I again borrow from Freire to caution you against seeing yourself as the proprietor of history or of all people. Your Colorado College degree does not designate you the liberator of the oppressed, but rather as an accomplice willing to fight at their side. As Toni Morrison told her students, quote, "When you get these jobs that you have been so brilliantly trained for, just remember that your real job is that if you are free, you need to free somebody else. If you have some power, then your job is to empower somebody else," end quote. Your education has been a practice of freedom, but now you must engage in liberatory praxis. I have extreme faith that each of you can do this, as we've cultivated your ability to perceive critically the way you exist in the world, a world that never is, but is always in the process of becoming. We've helped you unlearn that which presumes to tell you what to know and how to know it. We've redefined traditional notions of schooling so that you will always remember that to learn is to recreate the way you see yourself in society. To know is to acknowledge your incompleteness and to use the skills you've acquired to become fully formed. To be literate is to read the world and to write yourself into it. Class of 2017, my advice to you is to remember where you've been, but to start writing from where you are. I look forward to reading your script for the world. Congratulations.
Thank you, Professor Manya Whitaker, for those strikingly beautiful and deeply powerful words. My name is Michael Greenberger, and I am immensely humbled and delighted to deliver the closing benediction for the 2017 Baccalaureate ceremony. I offer this benediction in praise of the passion found in daily reflection and the contentment found in gentle pleasures, sentiments that we may not hear enough this weekend, but ought to take into our hearts if we wish to make this graduation process peaceful and full of joy. Take pride in the passion to be found playing small, for we do not define our experiences at CC in the heights of our block breaks, but in the quiet tenacity of our commitment to academic excellence and in the strength of the relationships and communities to which we have given a piece of ourselves. In this spirit, I offer a short reading from Ray Bradbury. Everyone must leave something behind, a book or a painting or a house or a wall built or a pair of shoes made or a garden planted. Something your hand touched some way so your soul has somewhere to go. It doesn't matter what you do, so long as you change something from the way it was before you touched it into something that's like you after you take your hands away. The difference between the man who just cuts lawns and a real gardener is in the touching. So as we leave CC, find comfort and joy in the people and places our souls have touched, in the sweetness of the friendships we have forged, and in the resilience of the communities we have built. May we always have our experiences at CC to draw from as we enter our shared mission of Tikkun Olam, of repairing the world. And may we always remember that we leave behind bits of ourselves in those we have mentored, learned from, and loved. In the souls we have brightened already here at CC, we have begun our process of repairing the world. The highest being or good, whatever that may mean to each and every one of us here, may it keep a fervent love of justice and virtue in our hearts. May it keep us excited and inspired by our fears. May it grant us a calm and peaceful mind. May it bless us and guard us. May it shine its light upon us, and may it grant us peace. Amen.